What are the pros and cons of a boy being raised around mostly women to you? All right, let's start with the pros. Okay. All right. So to me, the pros of growing up around women, and not just, and I won't just put it as women that get shit done. For instance, my mommy. My mommy is very efficient about getting shit done, especially when it comes to kids and her mommy. You know what I'm saying? My grandma, Sarah Long. I love you, baby. If it means anything to get done over in Salisbury, my mommy's gonna get it done. So I learned efficiency. I learned how to, to be the oldest, and also to essentially lead indirectly, whether I wanted to or not. I learned those skills, and I wouldn't have got that if I didn't grow up in that particular structure, And another pro is listening to how they talk about men that they would engage with, and being like, okay. See, this is where I thought back then, and it's not the same no more. I was trying to be the good boy. I thought good boys were the ones that women were after. No, not everybody that does the right thing all the time. You gotta have some edge to you at some point. Yes, in some factor. And I did. I just thought that I would get the girl by doing whatever she wanted me to do. So I would listen to them. I mean, it's still considered a pro though, but I would listen to them and how they would talk about how men ain't shit. And it's just so many words, and things that they would do to them, even though some of them would go back to said man, but I digress. And but being around them, I got to understand sensitivity, if you will. I also got to understand tough women and how women like to hide, like emotion. They're trained, they were raised, like the women of my family were raised to be tough. And I'm talking about rough and tough, like no joke. Like you say the harshest shit, don't flinch. You are not going to flinch. You're going to stay there. And you might even engage in some more harsh shit going back and forth. But that's what, we would, what we would see sometimes a lot growing up. But it made us all to, another pro about growing up around the women that I grew up with was comedy. Like I promise you, pain makes you one of the funniest motherfuckers on the planet, and I believe that my family can hold up in comedy. Like from the youngest woman, the youngest girl, to the oldest woman. Like no joke. My grandma and her sisters, clowns. You know what I'm saying? God rest their soul for some of them. But my grandma and her sisters, pure comedy. My mommy and her sisters, pure comedy. You know what I'm saying? Like they just know how to laugh. And cousins too. I don't want to leave out cousins. Love you, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like family just are like growing up around them. I got to understand how they just did shit. They made sure that parties got done. You know what I'm saying? So being on you about doing this thing. So you always have some form of fucking task. And and it helps out, and I'll say later on, but I'm too old. I believe I'm too old for that shit now. You know what I'm saying? Be ordered around. I'm the one giving the orders now. You know what I mean? But serious note, like being around them, I saw making lemonade with the lemons that you were given in life. You know what I'm saying? I saw how to navigate struggle. I saw how to, no matter what, we're going to make a way out of no way. We're going to turn this little bit of ingredients that we have into a banging ass meal. You know what I mean? And like that stuff, it teaches you to be, to be humble early on, like them humble beginnings. And like the pros of that is just like I said, that you get to understand another side. Being you understand the emotional side, because you're gonna pick up whatever traits you're around most of the time. You know what I mean? So spent a lot of time around my mother and a lot of other women, you know what I'm saying? So I was able to absorb even though they were tough, I was still able to absorb the soft side of them and understanding them as far as where they were coming from and seeing them go through some struggles that they've chosen to be in. Let me be clear, but still struggle and still being able to persevere through certain things. You know what I'm saying? And they made a lot of stuff happen, especially for us kids when we were little. And like Christmas time, toys, video games, unlimited amount of video games. And you know what I'm saying? Like the pros of that scenario, man, is like the strength that you see of women and what she's willing to do for family, if you will. So I mean that was I think that's like I believe that's still pros. You know what I'm saying? Pros about that. You get to learn how a woman thinks. You get to learn what a woman feels whenever they do decide to show emotion and what they're not being rough and tough and trying to act like a fucking jelly bean, tough on the outside, knowing they soft as shit. Pros of being grown up around a bunch of women. I got to understand music. Really, that's one thing. I saw how music made a woman feel. And I would see my aunt lose her shit when Jodeci would come on. Gerald Levert was her man. Even R. Kelly, no comments. I don't want to hear no shit. She loves her some R. Kelly. Love you, Candy. But like when I would see my aunt react to a particular artist, it was like I wanted that reaction from women. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to learn how to sing. I wanted to learn how to be whatever. That's where I believe like my narcissistic ways were established, trying to receive attention, equating it to love, if you will. But I just loved that reaction that she would do whenever, like, again, Forever My Lady, Stay, you know what I'm saying, Come and Talk to Me. When those music videos would come on, or we'd be at a cookout and that song come on, it would get motherfucking women on the floor. And I was like, yeah, those are some of the things I thought that was what a boy was supposed to do. So, I mean, being around them, I got to understand the effect that music has on the female mind and how they respond to the shit. I mean, to this day, music matters, especially setting a mood for something. But as far as you believing that you're a celebrity like Jodeci, kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's learning to build yourself up. You don't have to necessarily be Casey or JoJo, Devontae, Dalvin. You know what I'm saying? You can be you. There's nothing wrong with being Romy Mac, by the way. But like I saw different elements of strength being around a bunch of women, and I tell you what I did. Another pros is soap operas. My grandma and I'll just say my grandma. My grandma thought them motherfucking people was real. Still to this day believes that Victor Newman a real fucking person. You know what I'm saying? Or Cricket and little Nicky grew up, was age 3 1 week, age 21 the next. You know what I'm saying? That's for us young and the restless folks. If you had to be forced to grow up around, you know what I'm saying, like your grandma and your aunts at your grandma's house, you know what I'm saying, through like in the morning time, like seeing different bunch of random ass shows that ain't got shit to do with nothing. You know, that's what but it was fun. I bring it up as a pro because I still believe it was fun to witness that, to go through that, to endure those different things, seeing how, like, again, like when parties come up, growing up in Maryland, you know, we had to have our crabs at some of these birthday parties, and then hot dog hamburgers, sometimes ribs, but like your typical, that's it, you know, hot dog hamburger, chicken, and you know, and then banging ass music, you know what I'm saying, cookout music that we were able to just drift away, escape from any problem. Music was the great escape, along with video games, you know what I'm saying, growing up. And I'm grateful to those women that I grew up around, because they spoiled the fuck out of me and my cousin with video games, because that's all we did. We literally would, from the day I got there to when we left on that Sunday or Monday, whichever, if it's a holiday, we would be gaming like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's just what we did. And we would go in there, we would hear them cackling in, you know, the kitchen. And you know, that was that was like the thing to do. Okay, so the cons of growing up around women, being raised by women, is that you don't get to see you don't get to see life from a man's perspective, which you don't realize that you're growing up to be. You know what I'm saying? You're becoming a masculine. You want to become. I mean, for me, becoming a masculine man has more benefits than growing up to be a man that expects a woman to do everything for him. So like when you grow up and you see a woman doing everything for you, you're gonna grow up and try to mirror your childhood when you leave the home. So I would say a con of that is seeing women do everything for me versus me being the one to make shit happen. Because when I would get into relationships early on, I wasn't leading. I was waiting for the woman to make a decision, and that is the quickest way to dry up a pussy. You know what I'm saying? And it's and the resentment that comes with it because you don't know how to make decisions. You're indecisive, whatever you want to do, and all this other shit because you're afraid to make a mistake. Instead of just saying, fuck it, this is what we're doing, and if it doesn't go, then fuck it. You know what I'm saying? We go down with the motherfucking ship, Rose. That's what's about to go down. We're going down with the Titanic. And, you know, like, so I would say that would be like a con to me, is that I didn't get to witness that of, you know, like that masculinity being raised around solely women. Another con, being raised around solely women, depending on the women, will determine how they treat men. You know what I'm saying? So like the tear downs. You know what I'm saying? To kind of essentially control your behavior, shaming you. Like that's another con of being raised around solely women, is that you as a man, you start to grow into this people pleaser because you're being shamed for your actions. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're a child. You know what I'm saying? That's for anybody, little boy, little girl. But the way, depending on your family, will determine the level of toxicity and trauma that has been infused into your family, to where you use shame as a tactic to control the behavior. Now, I don't believe the parents are thinking that. You know what I'm saying? I think this is more like a mental health like lens on it. But for them, you know, for me as a kid, it was like, damn. Am I that bad? You know, you just felt like you always did something wrong. Like something was, damn. And you anticipating you being told that you fucked something up. You know what I'm saying? So you sitting there just trying to be this perfect child, or you go the opposite route. Being the oldest sibling tends to try to walk on eggshells. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did. So I wanted to be the perfect child so that I could receive love. Is what I was doing. That was all the premise behind that. And like another con of being raised around solely women is sometimes anger being taken out on you because you look like the individual that they pissed off with. Sometimes, you know. I laugh through my pain. But I mean, shit happens. And so like that stuff where you're just a kid and you're really just trying to figure shit out. But sometimes shit happens. It's not right. You know, it's not a right or wrong thing. You know, I guess it's more like a perspective. It's not healthy, if you will. And growing up around women, I tell you a con of that, because I don't say most women. Some women don't like to admit when they're wrong. Namely, this damn family. So when you're a kid, when you're a black kid in this family, and you voice something that's not necessarily right, you're talking back. So you're being disrespectful. It's a way of controlling you. Even if you are in the right, you're essentially being told that you're wrong. So what does that do? So when you grow up and you're in the right, but you feel like if you call somebody out on their shit, you're being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? But that's one. I say that's another con that I can see looking back. But they didn't know any better. You know what I mean? They did what was done to them, and those people did what was done to them, and so on and so forth. So it's not like, this is not a blame game. This is an observe game. You know what I'm saying? So we all can learn from from the things that we've done, the things that we're doing, and the things that we can prevent ourselves from doing. You know what I mean? Talking about it. But like that type of shit where it's be like, you talking back. If you know, you're not taught to have boundaries. You know what I'm saying? You're not taught to speak up for yourself. If you try to say something and you catch somebody wrong, you know, doing homework with you, thinking that you got, you know, we figured it out, we got the answers right, go to school, found out your mom helped you get all the shit wrong. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, but, you know, I'd say that jokingly, but that's not necessarily a con, but that's just one of the things I remember growing up. Math, fuck math. I still feel that way. I just gotta learn. I just gotta work at it to be better at math. That's all it is. But right now, fuck math. And but like a more, I'll say, other cons of growing up around women, especially like being the oldest sibling. You're called to do things like you're called to do like what the man of the house does, but you have no authority. Like you're being given a responsibility of what the man of the house should do because you're the oldest, but you have no authority either way. So it's just like to me, looking back, I look at that as manipulative labor. But I mean, because I believe a child's place is a child's place. Like I don't believe a child should be doing, you know, I don't think a child is to be doing like adult shit, you know, and having that pressed upon them and feeling like responsible for you. You know what I'm saying? To the point where it's almost like you're essentially raising them, like being treated as if you're their parent. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. That's like a con, I would say, depending on your household. And it's not a great feeling when you have to be responsible for your parents' emotions. I can tell you that. So it makes you walk on eggshells. It makes you a people pleaser. And but again, if they were given the same type of treatment, so they don't know any differently, they don't think it's wrong. They just think that's what you're supposed to do as a, you know what I'm saying, like a parent. But that's not always the case. We can break cycles, is what I'm saying. So you know. I said there's a few, you know, that's some pros, that's some cons that I believe, you know what I'm saying, like that constitutes growing up around mainly women and what you pick up from that. But I will say this, and I'm gonna end on this, that those women made sure that we did not have to want for nothing. That's one thing I will say. Regardless of whatever trauma that we all have accumulated as a family, you know, like I can definitely tell you that they gave all they knew to us, and in hopes to keep us safe, you know, or protect us from something, or to have us face fears, depending on which one it is. You know what I'm saying? Like the love that was given. You know, it was hard to read it sometimes. I'll say that. It was hard to read it sometimes, but it was definitely love that was given to me, my brother, my cousins, and I can tell you that I'm extremely grateful for everything that we endured, because it brought me to where you see in the present day. So thank you to those women, the women of my family, my aunts, my mother, my grandma, and my, you know what I'm saying, like older female cousins, what they did for us growing up, making sure we didn't have to want for anything, or making a batch of like deviled eggs just because, or making, you know what I'm saying, a pot of chicken and dumplings, whatever it was that was like, that meant something, putting love into that gift of food, putting love into the gift of those toys that were given on Christmas, birthdays, random, whatever. And, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that can never be repaid for. I'm just extremely grateful for what my family has done, you know what I mean, essentially for me, in my upbringing. And what else can I say, man? I love y'all. So that's my thoughts on growing up, being raised around mainly women.